A very good afternoon as we get you set for hockey season, Goon.
Nope.
Are you not pumped? Come on. Let's get the NHL going.
It is.
Who's with me?
What a fantastic time to start it. Wednesday afternoon at 5:30, bud. Well, it's a way to perfectly kick it off for us, to be honest with
It
you.
works. It works for me. I'm okay with that.
I mean, the first opening game should have like 18 to 22 fights. Just drop the puck and just start going after it. They weren't allowed to do it in the offseason and last season, so just get it done. Get it over with. These two teams hate each other. I hate you. You hate me. I hate them. You hate them. Let's get it on, baby.
Well, and in that spirit,
Flyers are peaking.
how about the Steelers trying to be generous and this time where everybody seems to be looking out for themselves? The Steelers said, "Hey, we're going to look out for you."
Yep.
Big
You've been through a lot in
miscommunication.
2020. We're gonna give Cleveland the game.
Big miscommunication at the start of the game. Mike Tomlin was emphatic with Big Ben that they had to get 6 on the board right away. Had to do it.
I don't care how you do it, Ben. Get 6 out
just
there.
a big misunderstanding. Ben came back to the sideline expecting to be congratulated, and lo and behold, I truly have never seen anything quite like that. Where
I love it.
It was just ridiculous. I mean, halfway through the first quarter,
did you watch the whole thing?
You knew it was over. Well, yeah.
Okay.
But it was just an unbelievably poor display of football. And the thing is just crazy. You're watching that game, right? And you're like, which team wasn't able to practice this week? Which team's head coach isn't on the sideline? Because, I'm listening to some of the talk this week. Some folks are getting a little carried away with and listen, if you're a Browns fan, man, enjoy it, and your team did play well. But let's not get carried away with this was Cleveland really played well, and they showed they belong. This was the Steelers really showed they didn't belong. I mean, this was, it's one thing. I was reading an article this week on the Penn State Miami game in '86 or '87, whatever, but the national title game, and they're going through that, and the thing that you remember about that game, obviously, most is the turnovers, the 7 turnovers. But in that game, right, the turnovers were inflicted by Penn State. I mean, it was the defensive backs coming up and laying the lumber on the bigger backs, and you felt like, yeah, they were turnovers, but they were earned turnovers. The Browns, and again, taking nothing away. If I'm Cleveland, I'm celebrating. If I'm a Browns fan, and they did play well. I'm not saying that the Browns didn't play well, but what I'm telling you is when you're given 21 of the 28 points in the first, I mean, absolutely given through nothing that you did. I mean, it was it was overthrown and the ball bouncing up in the air. I mean, that's not. So it's one thing if you're you time the route and you jump it, like you earned that, and. But when a team literally gives it away, I mean, what else are you going to do but take it? And I can't remember. I probably have seen, I've as much football as I've watched over the years. I just cannot remember a game where a team was that willing to give things away in the opening quarter so consistently. I mean, it was horrible. It was just it was a farce.
I felt very bad for you.
And then the Steelers do get back into it and start making a run, and you get the 4th and 1. And I just listen. I get you can make the argument. I mean, and you can. I mean, you can make a football argument that no, we wanted to pin their team deep. We thought we could get them inside the 10. The way our defense was playing. I mean, you can make that argument. What I'm telling you is you're watching the game, right? You've got to have a feel for the game, and you can feel Cleveland starting to tighten up.
Yeah.
You can feel your team starting to get its chest out and feel good about itself. And I'm just telling you, it's one of those. From an analytics standpoint, I think you can sit there and justify the call. Watching the game, there's no way you can, and especially when. What Mike Tomlin has said over the years is we want to be aggressive, right? I mean, they go for 2 as often, if not more, than anybody else in football. And that was another confounding
They
part
went
of
for one when they
the
shouldn't
game
have,
to me.
didn't
Yeah.
go for one when they should have.
And again, I could actually argue that either way too.
Yep.
But the 4th and 1, and it bothered me they're not going for 2, but not nearly as much as the with the time remaining and the circumstances. That one again, I can see both sides. And even though I can see the argument the other way, again, it's one of those you've got to have a feel for the game and you've got to sense the moment. And if you are as confident as Tomlin said after the game, listen, we were just confident in our defense would be able to keep them deep. Well, if you're that confident in your defense, and I'm with you at that point, I'm confident in what the defense has been doing. Then even if the Browns stop you there, and I get the field position game, I do.
Sure.
But I guess at the end of the day, it just felt like you had the Browns on the ropes a little bit, and you ducked away, and you gave them the opportunity to regroup, and and then obviously they come down, and you thought they put the game away. Then the Steelers come back, and it's what with as quickly as they came back, that they might still be in it, and then Cleveland again is able to put it away. So
the woman I share a bed with,
yep.
I probably said to her time, this is probably the most important drive in Cleveland Browns history right now, about 7 different times. Because every time the Steelers
after the Steelers punted on the
Steelers scored
following that.
And then I was like, all right, Cleveland's got to get something going here, right?
Yeah.
They got to get a couple first downs, and they would give the ball up. Pittsburgh would score super, super fast, but then Cleveland scored again. Then it was like, okay, we could breathe, and then Pittsburgh scored super fast again. She was on pins and needles the whole day. She was like, I'm telling you, they're more defeatist than Eagles fans. They're horrible. It's sad. I feel so bad for them. They are that beaten down.
Well, understandably so. I mean, when you look at what has happened here over the
they were just waiting for the other shoe, the other boot to fall. That's what I felt. And then at the end of the game, when it was finally like, okay, she could finally breathe, gave her a high five, and we were good to go. And I was like, I could not believe.
I never had a good feeling about the way Ben was. I mean, I know at one point he completed whatever it was, 10 consecutive or whatever. He was not on. He was not. He was taking the dinky stuff that Cleveland was giving, but there was never a moment where you're like, "Oh, look out!"
I don't think he has it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
talking pregame with Booch before.
It's hard to make the argument that he does have it based on what we saw down the stretch this year. Here's the problem: if you're the Steelers, I know Ben said he hopes the Steelers want him back.
41 million.
And I don't think I'm not even. I mean, yeah, that's obviously weighs in. But what's your? I don't think there's a better alternative right now for the Steelers, and I don't think there will be in the upcoming draft. Now we'll see. Maybe they can reposition things. But I mean, I'm not confident that the quarterback of the future, as a starter who can lead you places, is on that roster right now. And so, yeah, I mean, even if you do think Ben has lost it, or at least has lost, a good step, and I still think he's a better alternative right now than what they have on that roster. And, I don't know. The Steelers traditionally do not get involved. I am wondering. I have no idea. And I'm not expecting it, but I am wondering if the Steelers, I guess, wondering / hoping that I'd be taking a long, hard look at Deshaun Watson right now with that receiving core.
Woo-hoo.
And that the group of offensive linemen. And listen, they have whatever it is. Is it? I think it's 20 or close to it. Free agents.
18.
So that they've got a lot of guys that are going to be going on the market. Obviously, they're going to bring some back, but I mean, right now you don't know who all. So it's going to be a revamped roster. But I think you to me, Juju Smith-Schuster has to be a priority. And if you can keep that receiving core intact with those 3 guys, and you can bring in, again, the dream would be a Deshaun Watson. And I think the Steelers are in a position where you can.
I said it. Go ahead.
Take some things
I said it.
Away. I don't think thanks, but no thanks.
He can stay in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yes, he could.
All right, so I think you're going to lose Villanueva. Pouncey's already announced it's his last. I'm pretty sure he announces his last game. So your offensive line is already in shambles.
That was a heck of a
way to go out, huh? So you're going to lose. You need a new left tackle. I think the Hagberg guy who came in for
Yeah.
Pouncey in the games
Yeah.
he missed. He was all right. He was workable. A couple things. Me and Booch were talking about in the draft, because I'm sure we're going to get the team that's on my jersey or my shirt right now in a minute here. But we were talking about quarterback play and like how the Dolphins have the 2 and 22 pick, and they might be taking another quarterback because they might get rid of Tua. And I said, well, if you watch him play, and he can't stretch the field. Watching Tua, watching Cam Newton, and watching Ben Roethlisberger, you're not going to live on screen games. You can't do it. You need to stretch the field. You need to get somebody down the field, and they have the receivers to do it. But Ben, it just seems he doesn't have the arm strength to do it anymore. He can get it out there, not with any kind of
not consistently
and
not
stride,
not with the accuracy that he had earlier.
I would not be happy if Watson goes up there. Just so you know, I would not be. That'd be a bad move. Bad move for everybody. But do you want to say the stat that Booch said before the show?
Sure, go ahead.
You got stuck on it, and so did I. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I hear. Cleveland Browns have one less playoff victory than the Pittsburgh Steelers in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And we went through it and looked at it, and it was the Bengals game that the Vontez Burfict hit.
Yep.
And then pre-Mahomes, Kansas City the next year. They were the only 2 games that they have won in the playoffs in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy because they've been there all the time.
Yeah. And again, we'll see. It just everything about that game was just it just left you frustrated, scratching your head. Pouncey's been one of the most consistent centers. To start the game the way you did, and then again the 4th and 1 call. Again, I understand that you can. And I do. I think a lot of conservative coaches would sit there and tell you it was the right thing. But I don't think even the conservative coaches, if you're watching and feeling the game, right? You felt the way that thing was swinging, and it's like this is the opportunity to keep the pressure really on.
Maybe they were listening to you.
Not give the crack in the door.
They were listening to you say they can't get the tough yard when they need it.
Yeah, but the thing is, the short passing game was there all night, and I just think. I don't know. I
bad all around.
And listen, if they go for it and they don't make it, it's admittedly Monday morning quarterbacking. Although I'm screaming at the TV as I'm watching it, saying you got to go for this. And I would have said even if they didn't make it and the result ends up being the same, I would have said that was the right call. I really would have. Said that was the maybe I'd take issue with the play call depending on what happened, but I just think again, sensing the way that game was going and the opportunity that was there, and I just I think that game was lost in many different ways, many different times, but ultimately I think that that decision cost them an opportunity to have a chance at the very end to win it.
Well, it wasn't pretty, bud. But like Booch said about the Eagles with the Steelers, you held on to Tomlin too long. You're supposed to get rid of a coach after he wins the Super Bowl within the 3 years.
What are you making of Doug Pederson and his firing with the Philadelphia Eagles? And
my opinion.
What the future? What's the right move going forward here for the Eagles after that? But yeah, let's start with Pederson and why we got to this point with the Eagles.
I don't blame Doug Pederson one bit. I personally think that he wanted fired. He wanted out of it. You don't play that game 2 Sundays ago without saying, okay, I want out of this place really, really bad. He did everything in his power to get out of there. I don't know this, but I personally feel like he wants to be the coach, the CEO of the organization, and he has an owner and a general manager that are too meddlesome into the whole on-field stuff when they should just be worried about drafting, salary cap, free agency issues, and this and that, instead of trying to dictate what your football coach is doing, how your football coach is going to be. So It's Jerry Jones type stuff, in my opinion, with the owner meddling in there. And I feel absolutely horrible. The man is the only person to ever win a Super Bowl in the city of Philadelphia, and they ran him off in 3 years.
Yep.
And he was happy about it. I'm happy about it. I'm happy he's free. So I've said to people all week, I'm a free agent. Until Howie Roseman is gone as the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm a free agent.
What
that entails, though, is I have to go on recruiting visits to different teams and get recruited in the offseason. So I'm open. I have a couple of people that I'm looking at right now: the Miami Dolphins, the Arizona Cardinals, the LA Chargers / Rams. I'm all
Vegas.
oh my God!
Maybe all in on Vegas.
Oh,
how about them Raiders?
Oh, I could become a Raiders. Oh my goodness gracious! I didn't even think about the Raiders.
Oh yeah,
I just don't like
about
Gruden,
the Raiders.
I like the organization. That's what I'll do. I don't like Gruden. I don't like the.
There you go.
I like the organization. No, but it was just embarrassing to me because of the whole how everything went down, and we have a prima donna quarterback right now who says that he hasn't had his feet. This is all my opinion.
Yep.
He hasn't had his feet held to the fire for not playing well since Frank Reich left. Now, people are going to say, well, it really wasn't Doug Pederson that was making one so good. It was Frank Reich. That in itself is fine. Okay, if you want to think that that's fine, okay, if that's true, it's true. But let the man go out and do something. Hold him accountable.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of little stuff. And, again, how that team reacted and the veterans and how Doug coached that game against the Redskins to lose that game, you just knew right then. He just wanted absolutely nothing to do with the Philadelphia organization anymore. And he'll probably last a week as without having a new head coaching job.
Yeah,
he's that good of a coach.
It'll be interesting to see how a lot of this coaching carousel shakes out. It'll be interesting to see who takes the Eagles job.
I'm thinking Howie Roseman might take the head coaching job. I mean, I think that he feels that special about himself. You can tell I don't like Howie Roseman.
I don't know why you wouldn't be in love with him as an Eagles fan.
Unbelievable.
A couple of other things off of the top here we want to get to. Obviously, the national championship game last night. A year ago, Goon, we were sitting here talking about as LSU the best offense we've ever seen, and certainly one of the best teams we've seen in college football. And then a year later, and I know we're a society that gets caught up in the moment.
I know where you're going.
Man, I'm hard-pressed to name a team that I've seen in history that I think would definitively beat that Alabama team.
Okay, I have a scenario.
Night. Yep.
Forever, everybody who's ever played professional football or watches professional football says you take the best college football team. Can they beat the worst NFL team? And the answer has always been an absolutely resounding no way. No way. These guys are professional. These guys are men.
Right.
I am not convinced that Alabama couldn't beat Jacksonville Jaguars. That's how unbelievable.
I will say that offense is just God. It is unbelievable.
I just couldn't believe what I saw last night. I guess they are NFL. They're just 1 or 2 years removed from being in the NFL. So.
Yeah,
you get your 5-star,
but that's a significant
safety kicked out of the game, so they replace him with a 5-star safety.
Well, how about I mean, that's across the board. That's
okay.
What they do.
We're talking about that team, just unbelievable, top to bottom. So if you watched our Ohio State game, and I've been using this scenario all day. Ohio State took our offensive line and put them 3 yards in the backfield at will, whenever they wanted.
Yep.
I'm watching that same defensive line last night. Alabama's offensive line comes up the ball and puts that defensive line 3 yards back at will, anytime they wanted. So with that said, our guys would be 5 or 6 yards into the defensive backfield at the snap of the ball with that offensive line again. That's as far as we are from Ohio State as in competition level, I guess you would say, are we at that level yet? As far away as Ohio State is from us and the rest of the Big Ten, that is how far Alabama is ahead of Ohio State. And that's just absolutely insane to me to think about, but it is the absolute God spot-on truth.
And then that separation is greater between Alabama and everybody else. I mean, if you just think about
I went in
that, because I do think Ohio State, right, is pretty clearly and definitively the second best team in the country. At least in my mind.
I thought they had a chance last night.
I did too. I thought going in, I was foolishly, I truly did. I thought Ohio State could win that game. I thought Ohio State would win that game. I thought they were going to be
could not believe
fired up. And I thought Fields would be able to give that defense enough problems and enough different looks. But I'm telling you that offense is just and I mean they're great period.
Yeah.
I mean, in every phase and every way. But you're watching that game, the first half, and it's like, what do you do? I mean, Ohio State has athletes, big time athletes across the board. They know in some cases, all right, Bama's trying to get this done, and with the athletes they have and the understanding of the game that they have, I mean, there was nothing they could do to stop it. It was one of the most impressive games and I guess seasons from a team, and obviously when you factor in all of the other circumstances, I mean, you do have to give Alabama a lot of credit. I fell asleep, to be honest with you.
You should have.
I normally I usually go to bed around 9:00. I'm usually out by 9:30. Yeah. That's just my normal routine. So staying up to watch that Steelers game took a lot out of me in every which way. Monday was a long day.
I got you.
So I was actually somewhat relieved. So, no, I tried to make it to the end, but I fell asleep toward the end of the third quarter. I saw none of the fourth quarter.
I saw something yesterday. Well, it just proves to me that Nick Saban is, on paper and physically, whatever, the best coach in college football history. There's no doubt. You cannot hide behind his numbers. But what I could not believe last night was the actual joy in his face when they won.
Yeah.
I've not seen that from him.
Yeah.
He's always been so businesslike and rigid and just been
I think a couple of things.
He really liked that team.
Yeah, I think he loves this team and the way they go about it, right?
He kept on saying they're very businesslike and this and that. There's no bull crap, and they're good leaders.
You could be an Alabama hater, but Devontae Smith. I mean, how do you not love?
He's going to my former team.
That kid, and he's one of the most. I don't know. He's an easy kid to root for. Let me put it that way. He just is. A guy that from at least everything. I mean, obviously, I don't know him, and you never know what's going on behind the scenes. But boy, from everything you read and all accounts, he is.
Shame to see him get hurt.
The very best that college football has to offer. That first half was just. I mean,
12 catches, 215, 3 touchdowns,
and that's
against Ohio State.
And you know that Ohio State went into that game saying, "Listen, whatever we do, right, we got to try to slow down, stop Devontae Smith," and he sets a record.
It was amazing
for a game in the first half. He's special. That team is special, and there was a debate going on some friends' accounts today on greatest coaches, and then the argument was, well, any sport, top 3 coaches right now, of course, they're all focusing on football and basketball. So I did throw in, there is a guy who's doing okay with his wrestling program these days in the college ranks. But what Nick Saban is doing, and I have a hard time because to me, Bear Bryant is the standard, and I have a hard time not recognizing Bear as the greatest, and Joe right up there, in that echelon with him. But truthfully, Goon, it is harder to do what Alabama. I know.
Yes,
they're making it look easy, but I'm telling you, with the way the rules are right now, and with the
recruiting
amount
numbers.
With the amount of the number of schools that are all in with their investment to their programs, and especially in the SEC, which is where Bama plays, to do what he has done here with 7 national titles overall and 6 here with Bama. I mean, it is.
I got stats for you.
It is absolutely amazing. Well, they were talking this morning that Joe used to say he the goal, and for a long time it was the case until some things started to slip away from him. But for a long time, it was if you every 5 years, right, you would at least have the opportunity to play for a national title, or be part of a national or be part of an undefeated team.
That's what he had for his whole career
until the late
1991 was the year I got here. Was the first group of seniors that he had ever coached that did not play for a national title, go undefeated, or win a national title.
Yeah, and then so the but so at Bama, they have not just played for or had
crazy.
They have won. If you've been at Bama for any 3-year period
since 2007
during Nick Saban's tenure as Alabama's head coach, they have won a national title.
That's insane, buddy.
Or you have won a national title. So
now,
and again, to do it in this era is. And again, what Bear did was remarkable. What Joe Paterno did was remarkable. But listen, for periods of their career, significant periods of their career, right? They had advantages above and beyond once they got it built up. And listen, you got to build it up, and I get that, and all credit to them. And nobody's saying Joe Paterno or Bear Bryant or whoever else you want to put on the list wasn't great. But I'm telling you, what he is doing right now,
yes.
Nick Saban, in dominating the sport in an era where it really is designed. And again, I know it doesn't seem like it because Clemson and Alabama are there every year, and Ohio State seems to be there just about every year. But I'm telling you that the system is designed almost like the NFL to prevent what Alabama has done from being able to occur. And he has just built a
with
true
the scholarship
dynasty.
Limits. I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying there's an article a couple weeks ago that I think Saban was actually talking about the difference in the NFL and the difference in the college football. And he was actually, it may have been, but I know it was him. They were using him as an analogy. You win the Super Bowl, you're number 32 pick in 7 rounds, okay?
Yeah.
You win the college football playoff like he did last night. Congratulations, you get 7 5-star recruits.
Right.
So the rich get richer, and you can never change that, in my opinion. I thought about it last night. I'm sitting there watching. I'm watching the defensive MVP, the kid from he's from St. John, Newman, and Goretti out in South Philadelphia. The big D tackle won the MVP of the defensive side. Philadelphia kid. How in the hell does he get to Tuscaloosa, Alabama? Okay? And 20 years ago, it was all regional. Recruiting was regional. You had to recruit your home state.
Yep.
You had to recruit your area as well, and this and that. I think technology is so far ahead. I mean, you're talking about Joe and Bear. Can you imagine having to go to Tuscaloosa back in the 70s? How many planes you'd have to take and the driving and this and that? Now a kid jumps on a plane and flies into Atlanta, and then it jumps a flight into Tuscaloosa. It's not that hard to travel. And the norm is it doesn't matter. You don't feel like you should stay in the Northeast. You should stay in Pennsylvania anymore. Now it's like you got to go to the best program, and I just don't see it changing until he is gone. I mean, and it's going to be a long time before Alabama does stop being such a dominant force because they are going to pick up 10 5-star recruits. I mean, I believe that 50% of the 40% of the 5 stars recruits last year, and they don't give 5-star to everybody. I think 100 some guys get it.
Yeah.
They either went to Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, or Ohio State. That's where 40% of the 5-star recruits went to. And it's just like the rich keep on getting richer and this and that. You have to break the cycle somehow. And it's getting to the point where it's almost like we always talk about the PIAA playoffs. I'm a Catholic school kid, so private school versus public school. It's almost what it's turning into.
Yeah. Except that,
you can't level it out. There's no way to fix it.
Well, except that there is, I mean, you've got big-time coaches and programs that are going after these same kids. And listen, I mean, you saw it last year with LSU, right? You're seeing, like, it can be done when you get the group together for a season, right? It can all come together. But to do it as consistently for as long as Alabama has, because
it's
I get what you're saying,
so
and yes, and we're seeing it with Penn State wrestling, right? I mean, every year you're seeing the top kids from around the entire country choosing Penn State over their home state schools and whatever, and Iowa has done that for decades. Oklahoma State has done it for decades, and so, but it can also slip away. I still think what has happened here is amazing with Alabama because it can slip away quickly. And, when Clemson said, okay, well, we got our foothold and we're right there. And even, again, with LSU or with – and I think there are good selling points for some of these other schools, including a school like Penn State. Hey, to those 5-star recruits, you could be the guy that gets us over the hump and gets us into that picture. You could be responsible. At Alabama, you're just going to be right. I mean, I'm saying from a selling point, you're going to be another cog in the machine. You're not going to be. You could be the guy. You could be Saquon Barkley, the next Saquon here at Penn State. I mean, Devontae Smith, right? I mean, he's unbelievable, but next year. I mean, it's not like Alabama's going to be sitting there. I mean, Smith is special enough that, I mean, he will be long remembered and will be never forgotten. But my point is, I mean, they're going to reload and they're going to have
look how hard it is for LSU
bunch of phenoms.
Remember the preseason? They were ranked preseason. They were, we're going to continue this on. We're going to beat Alabama. Or was that what Edo say? Oh, we're going to beat their ass. We're going to beat their ass on the field. We're going to do this and that. How long did that last?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough to do it year in, year out, year in, year out.
Well, and part of it is, can you establish that passion? Can you, the coach, bring the passion? I mean, it's one of the things that is still most impressive to me about Cale and his staff. I mean, Casey and Cody and Jake as well. The energy and the vibrant passion that they bring truly each and every day that they come to the room, regardless of the amount of success that they've had. And I think it translates over to the kids, right? And you saw, I mean, Bama wanted that baby last night. This wasn't a team that was, hey, we're Alabama, you will respect us. It was, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to make you respect us because this is how hard we're going to play.
So you're saying Cale walking into practice in the room and he's getting down and sweating. I just don't see Nick Saban strapping the pads on and saying, "Come on, let's go, you son of a let's go." No, but you are right. There is that he is wired differently than most human beings. I mean, he'll take a week off.
Yep.
He'll digest everything and he'll enjoy it and this and that, and then it's boom, 2022 in his mind.
Yeah.
And that's so hard to do. It's damn near impossible to do. Did you notice the center, number 69, that you didn't see until the end of the game? But I kept on seeing this guy on the field. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? This offensive lineman, big sloppy guy who tore his knee up a week before in the other game.
Yeah.
Right? So he doesn't get to play in his fifth-year game, but he dressed out, and at the end of the game, they were getting ready to kneel, and he ran onto the field, and they gave him 2 snaps so he could play in the game. And I was like, oh, there's the reason why the kid was dressed. And I was so happy about it. And that's what I'm saying. I saw the look in Saban's eyes last night that he literally and figuratively, he really enjoyed working with that team.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid ran to the sideline and picked up Saban, put him on his shoulders, and carried him off the field. And it was pretty – actually see Saban laughing. And I was like, you don't see that. I've never seen that. Usually he gets all pissed off and grumpy when somebody throws a red Gatorade all over. He looks like the old man, looks like Joe running around all PO'd. But it was just unbelievable to watch it. It was a different team for him. Almost to the point where I started thinking, okay, is this like the end of it for him? Is he going to announce a retirement? And that was his way of going out on top? Because that's how different he was winning that game versus watching others. Like seeing Ben on the bench the other night. I had one thought in my mind when I saw that. He's done.
Yeah, I'm really I don't know. This is going to be an interesting offseason, obviously, in a bunch of different ways and for a bunch of different reasons for the Steelers in that organization. I guess, Pennsylvania pro football fans have a lot to talk about here this offseason, and I don't know. It's just going to be so strange to think of somebody else coming in. But if the Steelers are if the goal is to get to the Super Bowl next year, right? I don't think Ben's the guy that can do it. And I would love to be proven wrong, by the way. I mean, I would love it if he comes back and, man, he has lights out season next year. It doesn't feel like that's
I can say one thing
possible.
His first 12 games of the year, he looked damn good.
Yeah,
and I think he got beat up because he had not played the year before, and maybe he wasn't physically ready for the season, and he wore down like a rookie would.
Yeah, I don't know, because he did not take many. I mean, he really didn't for a quarterback. He did not.
Right,
get
he was saying he was throwing the ball away a lot
touched. More. So I don't know. I don't know how much of what they were doing, and I get it. I mean, it was effective for the 11 games and whatever. I don't know how much of that was because of physical limitations as much as anything else. But again, the issue right now for me is if you're a Steelers fan, and I have a couple of buddies that, you got to get rid of them. Well, okay, and then what? That's fine if you have a good answer waiting, but it's got to be a good answer, right? It can't just be worse than Ben, right? I mean, that defeats the entire purpose then. And I just don't think right now Mason Rudolph or Dobbs are good enough to be, or to Dobbs are good enough to get the Steelers.
They're not NFL
to
starting
where they need to be. No, and I think Rudolph is a very serviceable backup. But
he'll make $100 million.
So again,
as a
the Steelers
backup.
either have to decide. Yeah, the tricky part for the Steelers right now is, again, you're trying to address what this roster is going to look like, what the salary cap is going to look like. Right, and there's a lot of decisions that have to be made there, so it doesn't feel like the timing is all that great to go out and hey, let's make a splash on the free agent market and pull together either a trade for Deshaun Watson or go get somebody for a couple of years.
So Ben is
and I don't know that there's enough there that you want to leverage, right? Because of all these questions. I don't know if you want to be giving away draft picks to try to move up and get,
I got a question.
Whoever
Jones.
It would be in the
Mac Jones from Alabama, last night starting quarterback. They're saying he's a late first-round pick.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I'd be fine with that.
But he'd have to go in as a starter.
Do you think,
Ben's contract's iffy, because I talked to people about it. He's $41 million if he plays.
Yep.
22 if they cut or he retires.
Yep.
So I don't think they can afford a Deshaun Watson and Roethlisberger at that position. That $22 million, would they cut and retire and pick up Watson's? I think they got to go with the rookie route for a year or so.
Well, and the problem is, because the other problem is what else would you have to give if you're trying to if you're trying to make the run at the Super Bowl? I mean, you can't be giving away.
They're overrated.
The caliber of players that you'd probably have.
Ask Jeffrey Lurie. Those Super Bowls are overrated, buddy. They're whatever. We don't really care about that.
Yep.
Unbelievable, buddy. No, but it will be a very, very interesting year. It's almost to the point where the Eagles ownership says, okay, we need to reboot, and that means we're going to blow it up and then start it from the base. Where the Steelers are trying to hang on just another year or two to try and patch it together, to try and make another run.
Yeah.
And they tried that. I mean, I think the time has come for them to move on, because you have the receivers.
Well, listen, here's the bottom line. You won the division, great, and now you have Cleveland and Baltimore both playing
and
football while the Steelers are not. So, it's the goal here isn't so much to win the division, gang, and we'll see. I am curious to see. It feels to me, listen, I was worried about that Browns game. I mean, I certainly did not see the debacle that was that first quarter coming. That game worried me, just as I said last week. It just, every time you feel...
Jimmy's trying to say he wasn't worried about it. You were saying, I've never been so sure. I said I get scared when I feel this good about the team.
Yes. When you look at the matchup, and I'm telling you, if they were playing again this week, I'd be looking at the matchup and saying the exact same thing, because position by position, I'm more than happy with the Steelers roster. I might take the Cleveland running backs over the Steelers right now, but I mean, there's not much. There's not much right now that the Steelers don't have the advantage in. But if you're going to go throw the ball to the opposing team 4 or 5 times. That's going to change the complexion. Not a lot of teams. I don't have the direct stat in front of me, but I'm pretty sure, Goon, there have not been a lot of teams winning playoff games -5 in the turnover ratio. I'm pretty confident.
You're on
that has not happened often.
We should do some research about that, Ironhead.
Again, to me, but... So, no, I was worried about that game for exactly that reason, because I've seen the Steelers were the better team when they went to to Denver and play at the Broncos and Tim Tebow. I mean, the Steelers, that roster was definitively better. With the Chargers. I mean, you go through the years when this team is definitively better than an opponent, that is when the Steelers
That's in the 10
lose
year, right?
the playoff.
The
playoff
Tebow game
games.
was in the 10 year.
Oh yeah.
What did you call it? The Tim 316 play.
Yeah. So
so
that game did worry me just for that reason. Because yes, I felt as good about that matchup as I did so many of those other Steelers playoff games, and I saw what happened in those games. So it worried me only from that standpoint.
Other games, you watch them all. I watched them all.
Yeah, I thought
it was an awesome weekend.
It was.
I really enjoyed the 6 games.
The Rams, even though I did call it, it still surprised me the way that they were able to kind of control that thing with Seattle. And as you move forward, I don't know. This is going to be a fun weekend coming up because I'm not sure. Good. Yeah, I was surprised with
Indianapolis.
How well Indianapolis.
I talked to John Butler.
Hung in there. Yeah,
we talked about it. He goes, "Dude, we just beat a damn good Colts team. They were top 5 offense, top 5 defense, top 5 special teams. That's a special team right there.
Yeah,
and I could not believe that they were the 7th ranked team. It just blew my mind that Buffalo, the number 2 seed, had to play probably one of the top teams in the AFC, and it was a hell of a game. I mean, there were some plays there, and Frank Reich probably had a pretty tough time looking in the mirror the next morning with some of the calls that he made and not going for field goals, going for it on 4th down, and missing a 33-yard field goal, and just some other stuff.
That game was there for the taking.
Yes, it was.
No question.
Very impressive game. The Baltimore and Tennessee game, I want to talk about that. And to finish my rant from last week that there's no respect in football anymore, the way that game ended, Roger Goodell, get off your ass. You got to do something about that because all these college players see it and all those high school players see it, and they're going to think that's the way the pros do it. And that is the last interception of the game. 3/4 of the team runs onto the logo during the game, stomping it and waving bye-bye, and then refuse to shake hands in the game. Yeah. You got to put the respect back into the game. Otherwise, you're just going to drive people away. I know.
And I get that the Titans,
did it the year before and all that. Yeah, I got you. I get it.
But I'm with you. Here's who I'm forgetting now. One of the players, one of the Ravens said afterward, no, it wasn't about disrespecting Tennessee. It was about our team unity. No, it was your team uniting about disrespecting the Titans. That's what you were uniting over. I mean, come on. Let's. I'm with you. I really wish we would get back to just. Play the game. Be
especially
respectful.
That level, you're a professional.
Joe Paterno's point was always a great one. Well, not just the act like you've been there, but he wanted to have great opponents that you respected because that's how you found out how good you. Right, that's how you test yourself. You get the opportunity, and so you want to shake their hands to hey, thank you for letting us have a meaningful win. You beat a team 81-0, right? I mean, what great
we did that once
accomplishment, or how good can you feel about that? But you beat a Miami team 14-10. Man, you accomplished something, right? I mean, I don't know. And
speaking of that, did you ever read a story about that? Like 25 years later, I remember that I never knew this. That 2 or 3 of the Miami Hurricanes went into the Penn State locker room to shake hands and say good game to the guys.
Yeah,
I always look back on that and say that's respect right there. That's very, very good.
Yeah,
and Jerome Brown was one of them.
Yeah, after a week of
just harassing and disrespect and this and that, just trying to get their girls a little bit. But it was special to hear that. So, and then the last game we'll talk about obviously is the Saints Bears. The Bears had no right being into that game.
Yeah,
I can't believe I have an issue. Please tell me I'm not the only one. You have Alvin Kamara at running back, and you have Drew freaking Brees at quarterback. What the hell do you need Taysom Hill to come in and throw a pass for, or to take a handoff? I mean, I get it, the novelty of the Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
he could bring a different facet to the game, but It drove me absolutely crazy when he gets his arm hit throwing a pass that gets intercepted by the Bears, and I'm like, why the hell is Drew Brees not in there throwing these balls?
Yeah.
Why is he not in there? And then they're running these jet sweeps. How about you put Alvin Kamara in that position? I know it changes the defense and this and that, but come on. Stop outthinking yourself. And that's what Peyton's trying to do, is to prove how smart he is by what he can do. And, oh, look what I got this guy going. It just drove me absolutely crazy. I'm going to bring Drew Brees out of the game to put Taysom Hill in there. And then you have Alvin Kamara, and then you have Taysom Hill running the ball, and Kamara is a decoy. It's just nuts to me. Just absolutely nuts. I hope it catches up to the Saints eventually. And it's a huge game this week. So we'll talk about it on Thursday. But the games this week, man.
Yeah, I do too. We'll take a break here. We'll come back, talk a little Penn State football, Penn State sports, as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show from Quaker Steak and Lube.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Introducing the new dusted Ghost Pepper at Quaker Steak and Lube. 11,700 SHUs of fire dusted on award-winning wings. Try it, or are you afraid of the heat?
Who wants to turn $20 into $500? Support our local restaurants this holiday season. Eat in or dine out, from French fries to lobster. Bring us your receipt and we'll take $500 off your final price. Here's how simple this is. Bring us a receipt, buy a car from us in the month of December, and we'll take $500 off your final price. Merry Christmas from Blaze Alexander Hyundai Mazda. Support your local restaurants and servers. And remember, tell them Johnny sent you.
And we welcome you back into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Few things. It does feel. You tell me what you're thinking right now with Penn State football. A new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Recruiting seems to be going well. Some involved with some big names. Have got some good gets. And James Franklin is again at least saying all the right stuff about the lessons learned, and taking your medicine even when you don't want to in a year like this, and hoping to come out on the other side
I'm with him 100%.
stronger and better. And it really does, and I'm the glass half full guy, but it really does feel to me like Penn State has a chance to, again, I don't know if it'll be in the upcoming season, but I think in the near future, get to where it wants to go, i.e. the college football playoffs and making a run at a national
My issue
title.
the last couple of years has been the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, as a former Letterman, as a former Philadelphia, Pennsylvania guy, that has been my issue. And that was what he hung his hat on when he got here, saying we're going to dominate the state. And then the state was getting pilfered by others while we're out recruiting others, because I have a feeling, my feel has always been, and you've heard me complain about it, I always feel as if guys play for the name on the front more so than the back when they're from the area type of thing.
Yep.
So I love the fact that we are gotten a lot of Pennsylvania kids for not next season, but the year after. And when it comes down to York and the offensive coordinator position, I just have a feeling that James really wanted him last year, and it wasn't coming. And I feel as if he's wanted him to work with him for a few years now. And when it finally came to fruition, I think he jumped on it and made a move. And hopefully it's a good move. Hopefully it works out. I like the way he doesn't sit back, and he doesn't. He makes things happen. James makes things, when things are going bad, he doesn't just sit back and rest on his laurels. He makes a lot of things happen.
Yeah,
and he's doing that right now.
Yeah, and I think again, with Brisker coming back and Dawson coming back, I mean, it really does feel like some big pieces are falling into place the right way here for Penn State to get
Agreed.
back in the mix at the very least. Mike Yursich is the offensive coordinator.
Yursich, that was I call Yursich.
Again, I'm still not. I'm still wondering about not that it's any of my business and not that it matters. The Shiraka thing is still a head scratcher to me as to why after 1 year. I just it feels like there had to be something more going on there.
Well,
and it could just be. I mean, I don't mean anything nefarious by that. I mean, it could be, but I mean, just a personality conflict or something. But this sounds like a good hire, right? I mean, another up and coming
fit,
dynamic individual. I will say, if you missed it last night, reports surfacing that Bill O'Brien is expected to take the OC position with Alabama. Of course, Steve Sarkisian moving on to take the head coaching job at Texas. So
that's his fourth OC in 5 years that has gone, or third that has gone on to take a Division I job.
Yeah, and Bill O'Brien is hoping that they'll be making
they were
another change at the end of next season, right?
They were all reclamation projects. You had Loxley, who got fired by New Mexico a couple of years ago. You had, obviously, Lane Kiffin. And then, obviously, you have Steve Sarkisian, who all needed a little bit of comeuppance and a little bowl of, sit back, relax, learn from the master. And they did that, and they did very well for the Alabama team, and they're being paid. They're back.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see what Sark's going to do. I'm very interested to see what Sark's going to do. But
Bill O'Brien now.
Bill is a college coach. I really do.
Do you see?
I know you don't see the recruiting thing aspect of it, but I don't. I think that he likes to. I think he's a good man, a good human being. I think that he likes to be involved in kids' lives.
I think he's a great man.
You know what I mean? Like,
I really do. But
to be an influence in more of a life.
But I think his passion is for the NFL. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think he's hoping to get back to the NFL.
My brother sent me an article.
I think in part because he is a good man. He doesn't want the and it's not to say that there aren't good men as head coaches of college football, but man, you got to delve into some dirty waters. I mean, you can stay clean, but you've got to delve into some dirty waters.
I know.
If you're going to deal with big time college football.
No, but I read an article. My brother sent it to me about a guy named Jack Esterby. It's on Sports Illustrated. He was with the Patriots, and it's a bizarre situation that he was with the Patriots, and now he's like the number 2 guy with the Houston Texans, and he was like this came out of nowhere guy, a Fellowship of Christian Athletes type of guy who got into the ear of the Houston Texans owner, and he's telling stories and this and that. Not he's telling stories, but they're telling stories about him, and he was in charge of this aspect of all the Houston Texans organization. Bill was in charge of football and personnel, and that's all he cared about. I know Bill. Bill was like, I don't care about this or that. Just I want to coach football. I just know how he is.
Yeah.
And I think that this guy bit him in the booty with the Deshaun Watt, with the Hopkins trade type of thing. And it's a weird article and really alarming to see how people see how this dude is and where he is at with what he's done and being so young. And it's just really crazy. But I could just see it with Bill saying, listen, I'm coaching football. I just want to coach football. I don't care what about the hotel reservations. I don't care about this. I don't care about I want to coach football. And that's how Bill is. And I think that nipped him in the booty.
I will say Bill O'Brien will have had the opportunity to be tutored by both Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, arguably the greatest
Cleveland Browns organization in history.
Greatest coaches in the NFL and in college football, respectively.
Have we ever talked about that staff?
Not a bad spot. I think we did, but go ahead.
I mean, Kirk Ferentz was on that staff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they had like 11 guys that are like super successful on one staff in Cleveland. Was it 95 when they left to go to Baltimore?
Yeah.
Unbelievable the amount of talent. Saban, D coordinator, Belichick head coach, Kirk Ferentz is your offensive line coach. I mean, my Lord. Jim Schwartz from the Eagles.
Yeah.
Formerly of the Eagles.
Yeah.
Formerly of Goon's favorite team. He was on that staff, and there's a bunch of guys who were in the NFL as general managers, and they were scouts at the time. It's a 30 for 30 on Cleveland 1995. It's amazing.
All right,
Sure.
we'll have to check that out.
Very good. I'll give you a lot of homework today, Ironhead.
Real quickly, we'll talk on Thursday. David Taylor and Jordan Burroughs now scheduled to square off tomorrow night in Lincoln, Nebraska. Obviously,
Going?
big weekend. And no,
Are you calling it?
no.
Okay.
Big weekend coming up in Penn State sports. Talk some basketball, hockey, and wrestling a little more on Thursday, as well as really break down and gear up for the NFL playoff weekend, which sadly will have 0 Pennsylvania teams involved. Maybe they can get together on the golf course
Steagles
this weekend.
Combine the two.
We'll also have a chance to talk some NHL hockey as the season finally does get underway tomorrow.
Let's go Flyers.
I was ready for hockey season about 2 minutes into, actually about 10 seconds into
It's Flyers season,
the
Flyers
Sunday
season.
night Steelers-Browns matchup. So we'll talk some hockey on Thursday for
go
sure
Flyers.
as well. Go Pens.
Let's go
Got a
Flyers.
good feeling. This is going to be the year.
No.
They're bringing home the
Flyers
cup this
are going
year.
up. Pens are on their way down. They're just meeting in the middle that they have for their whole existence.
We'll talk to you Thursday
Boom.
with another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Introducing the new dusted Ghost Pepper at Quaker Steak and Lube. 11,700 SHUs of fire dusted on award-winning wings. Try it, or are you afraid of the heat?
Who wants to turn $20 into $500? Support our local restaurants this holiday season. Eat in or dine out, from French fries to lobster. Bring us your receipt and we'll take $500 off your final price. Here's how simple this is. Bring us a receipt, buy a car from us in the month of December, and we'll take $500 off your final price. Merry Christmas from Blaze Alexander Hyundai Mazda. Support your local restaurants and servers. And remember, tell them Johnny sent you.